The CAF president earlier yesterday talked about the xenophobic attacks happening in South Africa and how it has affected footballs in South Africa. I'm going to be playing the video here for you all to listen and watch. This is to tell you guys that, xenophobic or attacking foreigners or attacking people in your country does not really solve the situation of things. Instead, it worsens it. This is what Jacinta and her gang has caused in South Africa. But let's listen to CAF President what he has to say about South Africa football and the way forward. Please, as you're watching, kindly share the video, like and subscribe.
Let me clarify 2 points on this issue of Afrophobia and xenophobia.
Okay.
Illegality in all its forms, we will not tolerate, we reject. Illegality. And that includes illegal migration. I mean, nobody, and of course criminality as well. We are totally against illegality in all its forms, as well as illegal migration. Yep. And that's very clear, and we should put that aside. And then there's a separate issue. And that separate issue is when people legally come to this country. Something weird is happening in other parts of Africa. You come from outside the continent. You're a tourist. We welcome you. You're a tourist. You're not coming here to take people's jobs.
Yeah.
Because our job, of course, as a country, every country in Africa, your first obligation is to your people.
Facts.
Without a doubt.
Facts.
The number one obligation of the government of South Africa is to create jobs and create a future for its people. 100%.
Facts.
And any form of illegality, whether by our South Africans or people from outside the continent, should not just outside the continent, outside the country, should not be tolerated at all, under any circumstances. You've got to take effective legal action and ensure that there's a huge amount of respect for the law, non-negotiable.
South Africa used to be one of Ghana's favorites, or Africans' favorites. South African team, national football team, I should say, is one of Africans' favorites. I mean, those days growing up, when we hear Bafana playing, we will stay all night to watch them, to cheer them up, to give them all our support. But I think this time, this World Cup, things are going to change. My question is the African continent going to support South Africa this time? The opening match for this 2026 FIFA World Cup is going to be between Mexico and South Africa. And as always, or in the normal basis, African continent will always support South Africa, the Bafana. But because of their xenophobic attack that they have been doing, and it got worse this time, that we Ghanaians are even evacuating our people from South Africa, and they are still driving away African foreigners in their country to go back to their country. My question is the African continent going to support the Bafana this time around? Or they go back to your country? People will go there and support their people themselves. They should just pray. And are we going to throw our support behind South Africa, or we are going to support Mexico to score them? Of course, media, for what they have done, I am for Mexico. I have chosen my stand. I am for Mexico. South Africa, this time around there, you won't get my support.
Ghana did not ban South African companies operating in Ghana, but it did postpone a high-level meeting with President Ramaphosa, saying that the violence against other Africans in South Africa has been too much to ignore. The thing is, if leaders stay silent while other people are getting attacked, other countries will stay silent. You can't use grammar saying nothing and expect other African countries to stay silent while their people are getting displaced and attacked and discriminated against in your country. South African companies, they thrive across Africa. And the reason for that is because the doors are open for South African companies. If every African company woke up tomorrow and said that every South African company must leave their country. What do you think would happen to MTN, to Standard Bank, to Shoprite, to MultiChoice, and all other South African businesses across Africa? If every African company copied the South African anti-immigrant narrative, South Africa would lose the most. In conclusion, we cannot celebrate free markets and then we turn around and reject them when others benefits too. And that, my friend, is still part of the long view. And this is pure, the gift that keeps giving.
In 2010, I was actually going to move to South Africa, but I chose to move to Kenya because I saw more potential in my investment in Kenya, as in Kenya wasn't as, infrastructure's not as developed, and where there's room for development, there's room to earn more money. I noticed when I was in South Africa that the Africans who were there were complaining about xenophobia or Afrophobia, whatever you want to call it. And I even experienced that in a strange form at the airport, where I showed my British passport, being Caribbean origin, or Jamaican heritage, and the woman insisted that I was a Nigerian posing as a British Caribbean. And I tried to explain to her no, but she was intent on believing it because I'm a big size, and she just thought. But anyway, I managed to get into the country, sorry. So what brings me on to this whole situation about the Afrophobia and xenophobia? I've listened to a lot of influencers. I've listened to like Vusi, don't really agree with him. I think he should probably stick to business because his points, or I'll get into that a little later. But if you really look at it, if you go to somebody's house and they decide they don't want you there anymore, you just have to leave. So when you're going to invest in somebody else's country, even if it is our continent, if this group of people still go by the old order of what the British lines have drawn up as borderlines, then you've got to respect that. Now, you may look at them sideways and think, well, why are you not treating the white people that way? But in fair enough, you could say the white people supervised all the infrastructure being built, even though they did mistreat the black people. And on the other note, you'll say, well, the black people help you get independence and freedom. But it's just one of those kind of things. If you invest in somebody and your return isn't as what you think it should be, you can't really complain because you're meant to have done it with a good heart. As an Uber driver, I speak to many South Africans, many different customers, and they do all have that kind of attitude that it's their country, they can do what they want with it. And what I speak to them, I say, you know what, you've got to look at the people who are complaining and who's funding them. And who's ever funding them is the real motive. Because those people walking down the streets in their Zulu outfits, they're not the most highly educated people, from what you can see. And I'm not saying in a disrespectful way, but some of the questions that are being posed to them about, okay, so you're going to take back the jobs, but why didn't you have a job in the first place? And you're stopping people who have businesses. So that doesn't make sense, because if there's more of you as a group of people, let's say there's more Zulus, and you open a shop as a Zulu, then surely your Zulus will support you and not the guy from the DRC or other countries. So if you run away that guy and steal all his stuff, because you said he's poisoning you, but you're stealing his stuff anyway, which doesn't make sense, then what? That just doesn't make sense. And the South Africans, going back to what I was saying earlier, the South Africans I've spoken to in the UK, a lot of them don't even know their history. You're asking about when did the apartheid end, Stephen Biko, all these different people, there's a detachment. Whether the South African government hasn't taught into schools for the poor people or people in general. But what I would say the real issue is, find out who's sponsoring these people to march down the street all day. They've got flags, they've got banners, they've got t-shirts, they're kitted out. They're not spending their own money on that. I guarantee you, they're not spending their own money on that. And when you work that out and you find out where the money comes from, then you know what the real issue is. Now, other people say it's a coincidence that this has come up after South Africa took Israel to the courts about the human rights in Gaza. Could be. Could, you know, as the mafia say, I believe in coincidence, but I've never seen one. That's Italian mafia. But all I'm saying is, we are one people in certain respects. We're one people because the white people have looked on us as one people, but we're also from the same continent. But if you go back in time, everybody's from that continent. So it's a question of how far you want to go back. It's sad that they feel there's certain South Africans, not all, that feel that way, that if I get rid of this group of people, because being somebody who's born in Britain, I'll tell you this, I make sure I get my second passport of my country of heritage, because I know one day, even though I'm born here, I've got children here, I've got grandchildren here, they may wake up and say everybody who's black or everybody who's got any colour in them has to leave. And I'll just go, regardless that I'm born here, because I know in my heart of hearts, they've never really took me as somebody who's here. And it's sad, in certain respects, because they wouldn't want us to go to the Caribbean or to Africa and kick out all of their people, and nor should we. We should learn about to get along on an equal playing field. But anyway, I just thought I'd give my thoughts on that matter so far. And don't get me wrong, if you do comment on this, I'm open to changing my mind on things, because that's what it's about. It's about having an open debate and learning, understanding people's points of view. But I will say this, as Jimmy Carr said, for British people who say they don't like immigrants because they're taking their jobs, if somebody can come from a foreign land who doesn't speak the language, can't read the language, and take your job, then you're really crap at whatever you do. And the same would go for the South Africans in this case.
The xenophobic attacks on foreigners have really affected a lot of things in South Africa, business-wise, tourism, in fact, a lot of things. Recently, I made a video about Guinea-Bissau, how they rejected to play for the World Cup in South Africa. They said they are not safe playing over there, that they want CAF to change the location or the country that they are going to be playing, because they do not trust South Africans due to the things that they are doing to Africans in their country. If it were to be you, wouldn't you be scared? Because on a daily basis, Jacinta and her gang are going about harassing people, beating up people, unaliving people in their country. So you wouldn't be safe going there. So anybody that is going to South Africa at this point, at your own risk, anything you see, you collect. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please kindly share the video, like the video, and please subscribe to the channel.